Hi, everyone, and welcome to Signature West Podcast. I'm your host, Sam West from Palm Springs, California. My guest today is Charles Huff, and he is a volunteer and outreach manager at the LGBT Community Center of the Desert here in Palm Springs. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. That was a long title that I had to say here, but good. I'm out of breath. So, I know you're involved with the food bank, which is going to be my focus for the next 30 minutes or so here. You started with the center about 4 months ago or so?
We're at 6 months now.
So was that before COVID started or after COVID?
Oh, it was in the middle of COVID. That was late June that I started. So COVID was already underway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell the listeners, just to give us an idea, how does the food bank function? Like who qualifies? I know the center is LGBT oriented, but I know the clients are all over the place. So how does it work? How many meals do you do a week? Who gets them? How many gets them? And how does the whole process work? I know it takes a village. That much I know.
Yes, it
I
does.
witnessed it, and so give us an idea how it all gets put together and how many people get meals a week and how many times a week and all that good stuff.
Okay. We are a weekly food bank. We do distribution on Thursday evenings. Um, and while we are the LGBT Community Center of the Desert, um, we call it the Community Food Bank. So we do not discriminate against anyone. You do not have to be LGBT to receive food from us. And when you say it takes a village, it does.
I know.
It takes staff from the community center. It takes volunteers from the community. It takes our partnerships with Find Food Bank. It takes our local businesses who help us out. We have some businesses who give to us weekly. Anything they can no longer sell or use, they bring
Right.
to us on Thursday mornings.
Right.
So it does take a village in the sense of community, yes.
And who becomes eligible, if you will, and how many meals do you do on that Thursday night?
Okay, well, the number varies.
Right.
I will say when I came on board, it had gone from about 85 distributions a week to 185 distributions a week. We
So
are now,
it over doubled. I'm pretty bad at math. So yeah,
yes,
it's over 100%.
absolutely.
Okay.
And that's when I entered the picture in June. We are going over our capacity. We have a general capacity to distribute, just because of our size and what we can do, about 220 food distributions a week. We have been going over that number every week for the last month and a half or so.
Which Go ahead.
So, for instance, just last week, we did 239 distributions.
I was there. I was with you guys
Mhm.
on Thursday night. That was
Yeah, you
we did
were.
that. We did that many 239. Wow.
Yep. And that includes walk-ups. We do some deliveries, even though we don't advertise deliveries. We have some long-standing clients who cannot leave their homes. So we do a few deliveries and then the drive-through. So all that total is 239.
So I did hear recently, which validates what I heard just now from what you mentioned, that nationwide food banks went up by 60%.
Mhm.
And I did not know what your numbers were till now. So
Well, if you compare our pre-COVID numbers, which was in the 85 to 90 range,
right,
that we're now doing 239, we're more than
you're more than
60%.
60%. You're more than
Yeah.
60%, which is very unfortunate. How did that impact the setup and the system and the village? Because obviously doing 85 versus 239 is a whole different ordeal.
It's a whole different ordeal. It impacted in many ways. The original food bank system was a grocery store system in that the people came to the food bank and they could actually come into the food bank and they would shop almost like a grocery store. Oh, I need mayonnaise, or I need produce, I need protein. And there were stations for all of that with inside the food bank. When COVID hit, we
That
could
changed
no
everything.
longer have people come in.
Right.
So that's when we went to the drive-up process, which meant now we have volunteers who are inside doing nothing but preparing the bags and boxes that are going out. So everyone is getting the same thing regardless. You don't, the visitor does not have the choice of what they're getting. Everybody's getting the same thing. And it also impacted how we operated with the volunteers, because we had to then put in COVID protocols for the
Right.
volunteers,
Right.
which includes having volunteers who are only on the inside, volunteers who are only doing outside work, and we try not to mix those
I
groups.
know I got yelled at last week because I went
Yeah.
inside without supposed to.
So those things changed, and we're taking volunteer temperatures. Of course, we're all in masks, we're all in gloves.
Right.
So
You're also getting, I want to mention, you're also getting, I was told after, I wasn't even sure what it was. I thought it was from the city, but it's not from the city. You're getting the security to navigate the traffic. Where are they from?
we've had the police help us occasionally on a Thursday night,
Right.
but we have a security guard at our location where we do it that the center pays for.
Okay.
But other than that, we have no other security.
Okay. So that's the
Yeah.
center that provides that.
That one security guard is someone we pay for, yes.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then we have our traffic volunteers who are in the reflective vest and have traffic wands, who are managing the traffic coming driving up into the food bank. Because of our particular location, we have cars lined up on the street, they drive up to the food bank, circle around and back out. And so that's a logistical issue that we had to also deal with when COVID hit and the change. So previously, of course, we didn't have traffic volunteers, but now
Right.
we do.
How did the clientele handle the change post COVID? Was it easy for them or was it challenging? Or do you guys get feedback?
They handled it well. The challenge was that they no longer had choices.
Right.
Yeah. And then some clients, it's harder because they're coming on foot. So, but then those same people had that before COVID, but managing, getting in, showing up with a way to get everything home. We have clients who come in, with rolling carts or their own bags to transfer the food in to
Which
then.
is very challenging.
Yeah,
I have
very
seen that, very
challenging.
challenging. What
Yeah.
even makes it more challenging, and I want you to paint the picture because I am too chicken to even try it, so I haven't done it so far. For the
Mm-hmm.
listeners to take a picture of this in the summer, because it's the same time in the summer and it is in the fall. And I haven't
Mm-hmm.
done the summer shift yet. So give us
Mm-hmm.
the picture, and I can only imagine the timing and the setting and the facing of where everybody stands in the heat to do the exact operation that we're doing now, or that you're doing now on Thursday nights, as opposed to in August and July, where it's 120, 110 degrees.
Well, you've witnessed the setup how it is now with the
Right.
tents right outside the door.
Right.
Imagine those tents in the summertime have side panels that try to block the sun for us.
Does it work?
To a point, but you have a tent, you have a panel, they're made of unnatural fibers, so the heat kind of just bakes under those tents.
Right.
So the outside volunteers, that I give them all gold stars for weathering
I
that
can't
heat.
even, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
still,
This year we supplied our volunteers with cool neck wraps.
oh,
Um, we would go out midway through the distribution and bring them ice cream, lollipops. We've even been known to walk up and down and put cold packs on the volunteers' backs to cool them a little bit while they're working.
I just want to get the audience, the listeners to understand that as many food banks around, the country, this particular food bank in August and July and in the summer in Palm Springs, in the way situated by the mountain, if they can just take a picture of this mentally, it's not an easy task.
No.
It's not an easy task. And I haven't even done it yet, but I can only imagine because I've lived here in the summer, but I've never done the shift at 4 o'clock, which is
Yeah.
prime when the sun is coming down.
Yeah.
So hats off to
And
everybody.
that task of the heat is not just the outside volunteers. It's also a challenge with us inside because we
Digital,
have
right?
to keep that food cold and refrigerated. Yes, we have refrigerators and freezers, but with that kind of heat, it challenges the systems. So you're constantly fighting to keep everything at food temperature on the inside. With the heat outside, you've got air conditioners, you've got the refrigerators and freezers going, and it is a task to keep
It's a
everything.
task. I can only
Yeah,
imagine. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a task.
yeah.
Because, so what's the future look like, or do we even know post COVID? I guess it hasn't been planned out yet.
That has not been planned out yet. We are sticking with our COVID model for quite some time. I
Hmm.
know, we now know a vaccine's coming. We have no way of knowing what the time frame on any of that will be. So we're sticking with COVID protocols until we have confirmation that things can um, ease up as we go forward. But right now, we are sticking with COVID protocols, the drive up system, and we will address that when the time comes, if and when we ever go back to the client coming in and shopping.
Right. I've volunteered throughout, LA, Florida, Palm Springs, and it always
Hmm.
seems to me that whether there's shortage of volunteers or extra, it always seems to come together somehow, some magic way. The mission gets accomplished.
Yes. Well, I like to say that doers do.
Hmm.
So anyone who is coming to us with that volunteer spirit, they do. So I don't care what's going on, what's happening, the roadblocks that hit us, because every week the challenge is different. We
Right.
distribute based on what we get. So from our distributor, which is Fine Food Bank, and our donations from other places every week, every morning, every Thursday morning, once we get deliveries, it's okay, what did we get? What do we have on hand? And what is going to go out to the client today?
So give us an example of a challenge that was just, oh my God, what are we going to do?
Okay, during COVID, all of a sudden, normally, I'll put it this way, we make up our own bags for our visitors.
Right.
So we have meat, we have eggs, we have produce, and we get all these things individually and we make up a bag for our visitors. Well, all of a sudden during COVID, we started getting these prepackaged boxes. The
From
challenge
different from suppliers.
from our main supplier, which is Fine Food Bank.
Okay.
So if you can imagine, all of a sudden one morning you're getting hundreds of boxes, pre-done boxes
Right.
with food inside. But at the same time, we have donations from other sources that are individual. So let's say Fine gives us a box. It's got meat in it. It's got milk in it, whatever is in there.
Right.
And we have a supply of things that other people have donated. It's, first of all, we have to find a way to store those boxes until distribution that night and keep them cold, because there's no, our refrigerators cannot accommodate 220 boxes. We just don't have that kind of facility.
So what happens next?
What happens next is we lower the air conditioning as low as we can get it.
Right.
We wrap our food in cold blankets and other things we have to keep it going.
Wow.
Then we assess what's in the box. If what's in the box is not what we consider to be a well-balanced food box,
right.
then we're looking at the bags that we have already prepared and how do we supplement that bag so that they're getting a sufficient food donation to them this week. And how do we make that happen in time for our distribution this afternoon?
Yep.
And how long will it take the volunteers who are there in the morning on the inside to assess that, prepare that? After we assess it, then we look at, okay, what can the volunteers do this morning to get ready for this afternoon? And then what can be saved for the afternoon inside volunteers to then finish the bags come in at 4, because distribution starts at 5. So it's a
system. It's a whole day system.
It is.
So how many people in the morning? I mean, I did your morning shift, but I did the easy breezy part. So when you find it correct, how many people do you have in the morning that you need to count on to start the mission when the truck gets there, and then to unravel the inventory and then attack any obstacle that came around without you expecting it?
In the morning, we have a team of approximately 11 to 12 people, and
wow.
that includes staff and volunteers. So we have 3 staff people who are there, and then the rest are volunteers, outside and inside. As you know, outside is unloading whatever delivery we're getting, and then it goes inside, and inside is dissecting what we've gotten, and then it either needs to be stored, refrigerated, etc. Then we make the decision of what the bags will contain that day, and then the morning people, whatever they can get done in the morning is added to the bags, and then so that's the morning, and that can go. We are there starting at 7 a.m.
Right.
We're usually, it varies according to what's, how much work we have to do. Sometimes we're there till noon, which is like a 5-hour morning.
Right.
And then also from 10 to noon is our drop-off donation time. So from 10 a.m. to noon, the community's coming through making donations.
Right.
So those donations are being received, and processed and put on shelves or
organized.
Whatever needs to be organized, whatever needs to be done.
Right.
Also, the morning people assessed where our pet donations are as far as being ready for the afternoon. Because, for instance, somebody may come and donate a 20-pound bag of dog food. Right. Well, we don't give out a 20-pound bag of dog food. We have to take that has to be broken down into individual amounts to be put on a cart to give out in the evening if people have pets. So all that happens in the morning. It also happens, it doesn't happen just the morning of distribution. That happens 2 times during the week. On Tuesday mornings, there's a group who come in who do nothing but unfold, double bag, and do the initial prep of bagging, because we have to have at least 220 bags already set up and ready to go for Thursday morning.
And those are volunteers?
Those are volunteers.
As well. Yeah. So you got Tuesday's gig, volunteers set up to get ready for Thursday morning's gig, volunteers, and then there's Thursday afternoon gig.
Right.
Got
Yes,
it.
that's all volunteers. So
Right.
actually, there's even a Monday morning volunteer and who just comes in and preps our eggs. We
Interesting.
get egg donations in various forms. Sometimes we get them in huge flats of eggs.
Right.
Sometimes they come in the traditional 12 carton. Well, we have a supply of carton because we give out eggs at a half dozen at a time.
Right.
So if they're coming in huge flats, that they have to then go into small 6-piece cartons. That's why we're always asking people for their egg carton donations. So we don't have to purchase egg cartons.
Got it.
People donate their empty egg cartons. We cut them in half for our 6 that we distribute to each person every week. So egg preparation happens Monday morning. Tuesday morning, another group of volunteers come in and do the bag prep. Thursday morning, another group comes in to
Unload.
to fill those bag preps with dry goods. Then Thursday morning, the truck, the unloading, and that's when we get into the more perishable stuff. Thursday afternoon, we distribute. And then sometimes we get like a huge donation of something. A couple of weeks ago, we got 230 chickens. Well, those chickens, because they are frozen, they're wet, we can't put them in the bags with the dry goods. It'll do
Right.
nothing but wet the bag, it's a mess.
Mess.
So when we have something like those chickens, I bring in an extra volunteer who does nothing but bag chickens into a plastic bag and drop a chicken to everyone who comes through on the line.
Got it.
That's how you add to the process that we already have set up instead of overburdening the existing process.
Right.
Yes.
So what can you use help right now if you do need help in a category that the community here can help you with or help the food bank with? What do you need of?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Right now, people are doing food drives for us. They're dropping off constantly, all of that. I have volunteers even waiting to come and help. What I need people to understand is come December 31st, often people, it's like, oh, the holidays are over and they forget about this type of thing. So traditionally, our donations and the attention that food bank gets goes away come January, February, March.
Interesting.
Yeah, people feel particularly gratuitous during the holiday. Then once the holiday is over, it kind of subsides.
Right.
So what I am asking is that people don't forget us once the holiday is over, because we keep going.
You certainly do.
Yep.
You certainly do.
Yep.
How did you get involved in this? I know before that you were also a volunteer program manager of Desert It's Project.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a natural switch between the two organizations, or was it just organically done, or did you have a love for a food bank?
The center had an opening, a job posting, and I had been with Desert AIDS Project for over 5 years. I used to supply the volunteers for the revival stores, do events with Desert AIDS Project, the volunteers who were connected to client services, the fundraising events, and the stores. And then COVID-19 hit, things shifted a bit. And, you know, the only thing is guaranteed in life is change.
Yep.
I seized an opportunity to go with a Desert AIDS Project is healthcare primarily.
Right.
And I seized the opportunity to go with a smaller agency that is community oriented on another level. And as I said earlier, those who do.
Do.
So it just, you know, the opportunity came, and I've always enjoyed the people at the center. And you know, here in Palm Springs, all of us nonprofits are interconnected.
Right.
So I knew a lot of people over there. A former colleague who had been at Desert Age Project is at the center, so it would seem like a natural change and progression.
No, you guys do great work. Like I said, I volunteered all over, and food banks are great all over. There's no bad food bank. I'm not gonna,
No,
I'm not
no.
gonna ever say that. Um, but
I'm
yet,
sure all of our operations vary, but what we're about and who we serve is universal. So,
correct.
yeah.
And your summer afternoon Thursday event is very different than most places, just because of where it's situated.
Because
Again,
of
I
our
get
location,
because
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I haven't. I tried it in the morning on Thursdays, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
getting warm. I was too terrified to try it in the afternoon. I promise you, one day I will.
Okay.
I'm just getting geared for it.
Yeah.
But you guys do great work. It's very gratifying, and I'm very proud to help you guys as much as I can. Charles, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for this information. It's very helpful. To the listeners, you heard the man. Doers do. Come December 31st. Let's not be lazy. The mission goes on. Food banks are always in need and in demand. It's unfortunate that it went up by that much. Charles, you guys went up more than 60%.
Mm-hmm.
It's very unfortunate, but and if you can help the food bank here to the listeners, um,
Okay.
donation money wise, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Can I say one more thing?
Of course you can.
If you want general information about our food bank, if you go to the centercv.org and go to the food bank link on our website, we constantly update the food bank section to let you know what types of donations we need. You can see the times you can drop off the donations, and you can oh, what was I going to say?
There's no sense of getting things that you don't need, really. It's going to be counterproductive, and
Exactly.
it's going to be more labor to get rid of, and so there's really no reason
Yes.
for that's
And
just counterproductive.
soon you will be seeing a link on our website where we're going to be partnering with Amazon in a way that we can put things in there that we need, and you can order them and they're just delivered to us. So you don't have to worry about coming to the food bank or
Oh
feeling
wow!
like, yeah. So hopefully that will be happening in the next week or so.
So give us that because I think it might have been cut off a little bit. The website name again, the link that
The
go to.
centercv.org.
There you go. People, you heard the man. You got the information. Charles, thank you for doing this. I do appreciate it. It was very,
Thank
very
you.
enlightening. And to all the listeners, thank you for listening. Join us again next week for another episode. And to everyone, take care of yourself, stay healthy.